So I asked my YouTube subscribers to let me know what their crazy wrestling predictions for 2025 were. And today I am going to react to some of those comments that we got here. So let's get to it. What do you, the people, think is going to go down in 2025 pro wrestling world? All right, let's get right to it. Here we go. Let's kick it off with this one here from Craig Woodhall 8907, who says John Cena will be entry number one at the Royal Rumble. Can you imagine hearing John Cena's music play at number one? I personally enjoy when we have an unexpected person be number one, like somebody we thought would be in like 25, 26, 27, in those numbers. I love it when we get surprised and they are at number one. But if John Cena, here's the thing, a lot of people think John Cena might be winning the Royal Rumble. I don't think so. I'm not there yet. But if he were to come out at number one, I think a lot of people would then be like, oh, yeah, John Cena is not winning the Royal Rumble. Because I don't think people would think that John Cena would last from number one all the way until the end. From King Ash 9831, who says, Dominik Mysterio becomes Mr. Money in the Bank. Think about it. If he wants to become the top heel, just imagine what he can do as Mr. Money in the Bank in 2025 and wins the world title in 2026. He will say, I'm better than my deadbeat dad, and I told you so, that I will become your world champion, and that I didn't need my dad to become world champion. Here's the thing. What we've learned is that we should not underestimate Dominik Mysterio. He's actually not doing bad, all right? However, I saw so many people in my YouTube comment section predict that Dominik Mysterio was going to win this year's Money in the Bank. So I feel like he may be the top pick right now. So the fact that multiple people had this prediction tells me that it could maybe happen. I can see the character of Dominik Mysterio having a lot of fun with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Now, as for the world title, let's pump the brakes a little bit because I'm just not there yet. Now, here's the thing. When I post a question out to all of my followers, I said, give me some crazy predictions. Well, Mr. Right Way understood the assignment because he said Triple H and Tony Khan will hug on AEW Dynamite. This is so outrageous that I don't even think it would happen on the Twilight Zone. Next up from Kellum Kelly 7883, who says Penta will win a singles title in WWE. Yes, I'm 100% sure this will happen. And if it doesn't happen, then we're not off to a good start. But I do think Penta is of the talent and of the caliber and will rock everybody's world who hasn't seen him yet. I do think he will win a singles world championship in WWE his first year. I'm with you on this one. Another person with a crazy prediction who says Seth Rollins throws muffins in CM Punk's face. Well, talk about a throwback, BTW. If you guys want to watch the CM Punk video, it is up here on this channel. But can you imagine if they did something like this? I feel like the core people who know about the muffins thing would definitely laugh their ass off, and it'd be making a nod at CM Punk's past. So it would kind of be hilarious, and you just never know. What if they get into a brawl in catering and there just happens to be some muffins there, and Seth Rollins throws them in CM Punk's face? I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Next up, Okada won't be AEW World Champion from Yashiro. That one's tough, bro. I am kind of scared because I think a lot of us really anticipated a very banger of a first year with Okada in AEW. And while we got some good matches here and there, it wasn't what we expected for Okada. Now, will Okada hold the AEW World Championship in 2025? I would hope so. However, given the first year of his booking, I think Yashiro might not be completely wrong in this. I hope you're wrong, but you might not be. All right, next up we have from Matt Holt 2451, who says John Cena will win the Intercontinental title in his final match, completing his story of winning the one title that eluded him his entire career. And then he will vacate it. This is kind of how like Sting won the tag titles with Darby before retiring and vacating the title. I think there's quite a bit that we want from John Cena. Of course, you mentioning him with the Intercontinental Championship. Another one is breaking that record and becoming the 17-time world champion. champion. So there's kind of a lot of hopes hanging on John Cena right now in his final year. However, I do think that this one here would not be a bad idea, Matt. All right, next up, this is kind of a lengthy one from Juan Oro Barcenas 79495, who kind of gave us one for each promotion. So let's see where he's at. We got WWE Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk takes place for the World Championship. I don't hate this. This would be very freaking cool. So I'm going to say yes, let's do it. AEW, he says Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada. Run it back at AEW All in Texas. Now, I don't know when they're running it back, but they better run it back because that is exactly what I want to see Kenny Omega and Okada both do the second that Kenny Omega comes back to AEW. He says Ring of Honor gets a big TV deal and Chris Jericho drops his title to an established star like Adam Cole or Samoa Joe. Now, I'm going to be real with you. I think we need to build up Adam Cole a whole lot more for any championship right now. Samoa Joe, I'm on board. And I do hope that Ring of Honor gets some sort of a deal, but it kind of still seems a little far from now. And I think that right now they're more focused. It feels like they're just more focused on the AEW brand and that additional show that's been rumored to be coming out, or I don't know what. I know everybody's thinking like AEW Shockwave. When is that happening? Are they going to make that announcement? Who knows? But it doesn't feel like it's Ring of Honor's time right now. And even though they've been trying to get Ring of Honor a TV deal, it still feels a little bit far away, in my opinion. However, I could be totally wrong on this. Totally wrong. All right, NXT. He says Obafemi dethrones Trick Williams and has a year-long dominant reign as NXT World Champion. Look, Juan, from your mouth or your typing to God's ears, because I would love this too, or technically to Shawn Michaels' ears, because he's the one who's booking this stuff. So yes, I actually love this idea and would totally be here for it. And for New Japan, he says Gabe Kidd and Shota Umino become the next big stars of New Japan Pro Wrestling as Naito and Tanahashi settle down their careers. I can see this happening, not too crazy. And then the last one, he says TNA, Joe Hendry wins the TNA World Championship from Nick Nemeth at TNA Genesis. I would say put that one in the bank. I think you're cashing out on this one because I feel like if it doesn't happen now, I would feel like we're going to start thinking that TNA hates Joe Hendry because there's been so many times where we thought it was going to happen for Joe Hendry and then it didn't. If it doesn't happen at Genesis, I have no idea what to say after that. There's going to be a bunch of LOL TNA comments pretty much everywhere. So hopefully we do see Joe Hendry get the TNA World Championship because I can't think of anyone more deserving in the men's division right now for TNA that should be holding that World Championship. And another popular one that I've been hearing from a lot of people, this is from Tyrod Williams 9131, who says Io Sky will win the Royal Rumble. I feel like you're not far off here. I feel like I've been hearing her name a whole lot. So maybe it will happen. After all, we do know that whenever people are very vocal about something, it can happen. As we've seen, this year was probably the best example of that, with Cody Rhodes getting back his WrestleMania match against Roman Reigns. Next up, we got Taylor Cannon 7272, who says Bron Breakker will win the world title by SummerSlam. Jacob Fatu boots Solo out of the bloodline before WrestleMania, and either Charlotte or Becky will win the Women's Royal Rumble. I think all of these are possible. Definitely the Women's Royal Rumble. It could literally be anyone. Like, I have no idea who the for sure runner up, like who the most popular pick is. It kind of feels like everyone's a little bit all over the place with who might win the Women's Royal Rumble. And then when it comes to Jacob Fatu booting Solo Sikoa out of the bloodline before WrestleMania, I don't think it'll happen. I mean, he loves Solo, guys. He loves Solo. So I'm going to say no. And then Taylor Cannon also says Bron Breakker will win the world title by SummerSlam. I can definitely see him winning that World Heavyweight Championship. I just don't think it'll happen by SummerSlam. Maybe after SummerSlam, maybe next year's WrestleMania. Not 2025 WrestleMania, but maybe 2026 WrestleMania. It just feels like there's a lot of moving pieces happening right now for that to happen. But maybe by the end of the year, I think the end of the year would probably be the earliest that I can see Bron Breakker winning the World Heavyweight Championship. And I only say that because I do think that we're going to see CM Punk defeat Gunther for that title. But we'll talk about that in a whole other video. But Taylor, thank you so much for sending these in. Now, here's another crazy one. This is from Hysteria 2K9, who says Biggie comes back for one more match at WrestleMania with a main roster debut of Obafemi to take on the New Day. So I don't think that Biggie will come back for one match. As much as I would love to see that, Guys, it's too hard to say. I don't think so. And then Obafemi joining in the New Day, I think would be really cool, or taking on the New Day will be really cool. Regardless, Obafemi on the main roster would be very cool. And next up, another one, someone saying Dominic should win the Money in the Bank and that John Cena should take his 17th world title and is immediately cashed in by Dom. Give him as much heat as humanly possible. This is from CDTN Player. Oh my God. I feel like if this was Vince McMahon's WWE right now, we would probably see this happening. With Triple H, I'm gonna maybe say no, but yes, the heat would be like absolutely insane. I don't know. It's a little too out there for me to say yes to this, but I appreciate you sending a crazy prediction because that's exactly what I asked for. This is from Alonzo R, who says Jordan Grace will face Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania 41. Jordan will win the title at Mania. John Cena versus Cody will happen twice next year. The first match in Mania and then the rematch at SummerSlam. So I do think this match is happening at WrestleMania. That's my pick for Cody Rhodes' WrestleMania match and John Cena's match. So I'm with you on that, Alonzo. Whether or not it'll happen twice, that's a whole different story. But I do think that will be the WrestleMania match. And then as for Jordan Grace versus Rhea Ripley, please, again, from your mouth to Triple H's ears, because that is exactly what I would love to see. And I think that would be so like big time, seeing Jordan Grace and Rhea Ripley stare down and cross from each other. Can you imagine that? Literally visualize it right now. Goosebumps, everybody, goosebumps. And one that I definitely hope does happen, and this is from Jericho the Splendid, who says CM Punk finally headlines WrestleMania. Dude, if it doesn't happen for him this year, I'm going to lose a lot of hope, and it would be really, really sad if it doesn't happen. So hopefully it does. And this one is from Matt Gunya942, who says Christian becomes the AEW World Champion for 14 days. Oh my God, this is one that I hope doesn't happen. But Matt, I think it might. So you might actually be right in this. I don't think he's going to have his contract and not successfully cash in. Although there are some alternatives that can happen, like Edge coming back and ruining his opportunity. Please, if that happens, please let that happen, because I don't think I want to see Christian right now as AEW World Champion. I'm just going to be real. I love Christian, but not enough to be AEW World Champion right now. Alrighty, this one here is from blah 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 14, who says Obafemi debuts and wins the world title on his debut night. All right, so I think you're like 50-50 here. 50% right and 50% wrong. Obafemi debuting on the main roster, right, my friend. Him winning the world title on his debut night, absolutely insane. I don't think it would happen. I mean, everybody would be like, holy shit. But I just can't see it happening. It's just a little too far-fetched for me. But thank you for understanding the assignment and sending in some crazy predictions. Next up, we got Frank Cardova, Mile High Born, who says Sheamus scores the Grand Slam and finally wins the Intercontinental Championship. I don't think this one's too crazy, and I can definitely see it happening. I kind of hope it does. I think Sheamus deserves it. Alrighty, and here's one from LRGXP, who says, I have so many, but I will only share with one so you don't get bored, saying, here's a wild one. I'd love to see what if Netflix will start making a series about wrestling characters, animated origin stories, so they can use the wrestlers' voices that dive into the kayfabe, like Kane's tragic backstory of being burned in an orphanage, told as if it were real life, or Stone Cold as Stone Cold Killer hunting down Vincent Kennedy McMahon. They could even build a full WWE multiverse where these characters' stories connect in ways we've never seen before. This is something I've always wanted, especially since WWE owns these characters. They might as well use them. What do you think? Would you binge watch this? So look, it's not a bad idea. It's not something I would watch just because I'm not really into animated shows. However, just because I'm not into it doesn't mean that not a lot of people would watch this. I think a lot of people would watch this because there's a huge crossover, I think, between like, comics and anime and things of that nature with pro wrestling fans. And I hear this all the time. So I think that it would be popular with a lot of the fan base. Not with me, but with a lot of the fan base, yes. So I could see something like this happening. It would actually be very, very cool. And I can see them doing, fun stories with the villains, fun stories with the baby faces, things like that. I would like to see, Netflix do a lot when it comes to that with the wrestlers, and maybe seeing them make like cameos and stuff on random TV shows. You know, obviously a lot of these wrestlers, they have their signs like with I think it's Paradigm Talent Agency, if I'm correct on that. But they're signed to a button to these talent agencies that are top notch. So I can definitely see them doing like more cameos and stuff like that. That would be cool. But yes, the animated series would be something that I think would hit with the wrestling fan base. And maybe even non-wrestling fans too that just want to watch like animated shows. I could see that being something that actually could take off and maybe even make wrestling just a tad bit more popular, especially with a, younger audience. Alrighty, and last one. Let's do this one from Cutting Room Podcast, who says Dustin Rhodes retires at All In, Cody turns heel, Brock returns, Orange Cassidy becomes world champion, and Ricky Starks leaves AEW. Dustin Rhodes retiring at All In, it would be a very nice retirement, but I would be sad. Cody turning heel, I do think will happen. Brock Lesnar returns. Ooh, I think it will happen as well, but who the hell knows? That one's very, very complicated. Orange Cassidy becoming world champion. I feel like the moment has passed right now, so I'm going to say no. Ricky Starks leaves AEW. I'm gonna say yes. I do think that will happen. Thank you so much to everybody who sent in their predictions. It was so much fun to read what you guys thought would happen in 2025. If you missed your opportunity, it's not too late. You guys can go ahead and drop it in the comments section below. I will be checking those out. And if you're wondering what crazy predictions I have, I did make a separate video with Sean Ross Sapp where we collaborated and we chose a couple of items that we think would happen in Pro Wrestling 2026. And spoiler alert, I went batshit crazy on my predictions. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Catch you on the next one. Bye, everyone.